Hello, and welcome back to Rise the Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me again for another soulful conversation and opportunity to get closer to your highest self. The past couple of weeks have felt really good for me. The last 2 episodes that I did on self-doubt were big breakthrough moments for me, and I've been making an intentional effort to keep building my self-trust and finding ways to believe in myself more than ever. And that's why I thought today's episode was a perfect follow-up to our last conversations. Today, we're going to be talking all about falling in love with the unknown. I think it's one thing to believe in and trust yourself, but it's another thing to believe in the unseen, the unknown, and the undetermined future. It's natural for us to fear the unknown and to allow it to hold these negative possibilities and outcomes, but if you're able to reframe it and actually find ways to embrace it, the unknown can become a place where all of the magic is. And since you've built up your self-trust from the last episodes, you have an amazing foundation to know that you can get through anything that life throws at you. But today I'm going to be getting specific about the unknown and give you 4 ways to reduce the fear that you have around it. I think the fear that we project onto the unknown really becomes anxiety in the present, and it takes away from the joy and the gratitude that are right here in front of you. So it's time to find peace with where you're at and get excited about where you're going. There's so much opportunity in the unknown, and we are going to discover it together. First, let's take a look at our quote of the week. This one comes from Eckhart Tolle's book, A New Earth, and I'm actually going to be sharing a few quotes throughout this episode because it's just so good. But our official quote of the week is, "If uncertainty is unacceptable to you, it turns into fear. If it is perfectly acceptable, it turns into increased aliveness, alertness, and creativity." I feel like this is such a great explanation of what reframing the unknown can truly do for you. If it's a place that you fear, it's going to hold things to be fearful of. But if it's a place that becomes exciting and acceptable, it's going to hold endless opportunities and possibilities for you. And today I'm going to be giving you those 4 ways to start accepting and falling in love with the unknown, because as you will see, this is where all of the magic is. So without further ado, let's dive into my first tip. Okay, so my first tip for embracing the unknown is to view it as a place for opportunity and potential and not as a threat. Our brains and our anxiety love to make us think that if we don't know how something is going to go, that means that it has to go badly. Your brain is always trying to protect you, and it thinks that by placing the unknown as a threat, it's protecting you from anything bad that could potentially happen. And it's classic anxiety, really. It is the rationale that by dwelling on what you think could go wrong, that you will be better prepared for when it does. But we all know that your anxiety and your brain are lying to you, and the situations that are created in your head are probably the least likely outcomes. So I want you to think about every great thing that you have brought into your life: your friendships, your relationships, your jobs, schools, skills, hobbies, travel, music, movies, literally anything. Think about the great things that have been brought into your life. All of these things started off as unknowns. You applied for a job having no idea how it was going to go, and you've actually been there for years. You started a conversation with a stranger who is now your best friend. You went to a restaurant for the first time, and now it's your favorite place to go. Everything in your life has had to come from the unknown. And when you can look at all of the amazing things that the unknown has brought you, it's going to allow you to reframe it as this place where all of the potential and exciting opportunities exist. And that's the main thing that I want you to do with this reframe, is to get excited about the unknown. The unknown is really just this vast space of endless and limitless possibilities, which is so exciting. I know that it's natural for our brains to want to fear those endless possibilities, because when there are all of them, naturally some of them might not be the ones that you want, but your brain is choosing to focus on those instead of all of the possibilities that could actually be everything that you want. And I think the best part about the unknown is that it's also not predetermined. It's yours to shape. You can have anything, do anything, be anything you want, and all of those opportunities exist in this space that we have yet to experience. And as we know, you can only attract what you are and what is on the same frequency as you. So when we're choosing to be excited about the unknown, you are allowing the unknown to hold more things for you to be excited about. But when you choose to fear the unknown is going to hold things that make you fearful. It's really deciding that you want the unknown to be the place that all of your desires exist, and so you can be excited about that instead of allowing the unknown to be this place where all of the worst things could happen and then fearing all of those things. In the Believing is the Becoming episode, I gave you permission to feel the fear and allow yourself to go to that worst case scenario. And now I want to give you permission to go to those best case scenarios and actually envision them. Because as I say every time, what you believe is what you receive. So I want you to start believing that in the unknown is everything you desire and that it's all going to come to you and you can get excited about it instead of believing that the unknown is a place where all of these bad things are going to happen. Because I promise you, if you believe that the unknown is where the magic is, you will receive magic. And since you've built up self-trust from my last episode, you know that you can handle anything life throws your way, so there's really nothing to fear. The way that I look at the unknown is this endless array of options of who I want to be, what I want to do, who I can become, and I don't have to know which option I'm going to choose. I can just enjoy the now, enjoy the journey, and trust that whatever happens is exactly what is meant for me. The next tip for trusting the unknown is to release your need for control. I said it, you're a control freak just like me, and the unknown is such a scary place because we cannot control the outcomes or how things are going to play out. And I think that's where so much anxiety about the future comes from, because we're trying to figure out a way to control the situation, and the only way that we can have control over some future scenario is by worrying about it and thinking about it and planning for what could go wrong. But when you let go of your need for control, you allow yourself to tap into the flow of life and into the present moment. You can continue to hold that vision of your desires without needing to control how or when those things are going to come to you. I think one of the hardest things for people to do when manifesting is to detach from the how and when those things are going to materialize. I think it's easy for us to say, okay, I know what I want. I can trust that I'm going to get it. But when you're sitting in the void of the unknown, your brain wants to start rationalizing and understanding, okay, how am I going to get it? When am I going to get it? How am I actually going to make this come true? And you want to take control of the situation because you think that that's a guarantee that you're going to receive your desires. You think that if you can control everything, everything is going to work out the way you want it to, but that is definitely not the case. We all know that life doesn't work that way, and it's so much more powerful to say that you know what you want, you trust that you can receive it, and then release the need to know how and when it's going to come to you. Your desire for control is going to keep you stuck in the same cycles and in the same frequency. If you release control and instead tap into your trust of yourself in the unknown, then you're up-leveling your belief of what you're capable of achieving. You are declaring to the universe that you are in the energy of receiving and abundance, not in the energy of control and scarcity. And so in order to release your need for control, I have an exercise that I want you to try. What you're going to do is to start building a tolerance to small unknowns and finding opportunities to release control in your everyday life. So you're going to do some micro adventures over the next few weeks. I want you to do something like going to a restaurant without looking it up or reading reviews beforehand. Go on a walk with no destination in mind. Let someone else pick your coffee order. Say yes to new plans. Just put yourself in situations where you can release control of the outcome and the journey and allow things to flow a little bit more. And what this exercise is doing over time of building up this tolerance to small unknowns is allowing you to release your grip on needing control and needing to know it all. I want you to be able to see that it's safe to surrender and allow, and that by controlling things does not guarantee a good outcome. You're only holding yourself back from all of the beautiful ways that life can bless you by telling yourself that it can only go one way. I know that you think control is keeping you safe, but it's actually keeping you stuck. work. And by doing these things to release your need for control, you're showing yourself that you can accept the unknown and not be scared of it. You're teaching your subconscious mind what it looks like to live a little bit in the unknown, and there you're able to discover that there's joy, love, and abundance. I think you'll have a lot of fun with these micro adventures, and I hope it gets you excited about what can really exist outside of your comfort zone and what can happen for you when you let go of control a little bit. I know that this is a hard one for me, especially. I want to know how things are going to work out for me. I have these big dreams, and it's hard sometimes to just sit there and say, okay, I'm going to trust that the unknown holds everything I want, but I promise by reframing it, getting excited about it, finding ways to build up that tolerance, you're going to get so much more comfortable with it and see how exciting it actually is and how much exists there that you didn't even know was possible. My next tip for embracing the unknown goes right along with releasing the need for control, and it is to fully lean into surrender. I think that we have so many plans and ideas and goals that we want to micromanage to ensure that the outcome we get is what we desire. We're trying to control outcomes by controlling the journey to receive those outcomes, but the best part of life is actually allowing it to unfold naturally and experiencing the journey that takes you to where you want to be. And I think this surrender goes beyond just releasing control, and it's really about tapping into this state of acceptance and non-attachment. One of my favorite quotes from Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth, again, says that sometimes surrender means giving up trying to understand and becoming comfortable with not knowing. And I think that's exactly what surrender is. It allows us to get into this flow state where we can rely on our self-trust and our belief in the universe and the good things to come to allow that to take us to where we want to be. You can let life unfold naturally. You do not need to control the process. You don't even need to control the outcome. You can surrender to the way that things are going to go and trust that it's all working out in your favor. Because I think when we aren't in a state of surrender and we're in this control phase, it's really telling the universe that you don't trust it, that you don't trust yourself, you don't trust the universe, you don't trust in the good things to come. So you need to control things because you're scared that they're not going to work out. And when you're in this state of control, instead of being in a state of surrender, you're putting yourself on the wrong frequency. Because remember, the frequency that you are tuned into is the frequency of the things that you're going to receive in reality. So if you're tuned into the frequency of control or fear or lack, you're going to receive things that are on that lower vibration. But when you tune into surrender and trust and allowing and abundance, you're on this higher vibration that allows you to attract more things that are at that level. And getting excited about the unknown, surrendering to the unknown, releasing your need for control really puts you on that higher vibration where you're allowing these things to come to you without needing to know how, when, why they're going to happen. You're really in this state of full trust and allowing, and that energy of receivership and allowing is going to bring you so many beautiful things. It's really about allowing yourself to tap into this energy of receivership instead of this energy of kind of creation almost. I feel like that's what happens when we're really fearing the unknown, we're trying to take control, we're trying to micromanage things, is that we're in the like masculine energy of trying to create or make things happen or control an outcome, when instead, if you tap into more of your feminine energy, which is receivership, you're allowing things to come to you naturally without needing to go seek them out and bring them to you. And again, you know that you trust yourself. You know that you can trust the universe. You know that you can trust the process. So stand firm in that trust and allow good things to find you without declaring that you need to make sure that they find you. If you're tapped into this energy of surrender and trust, the best things are going to come to you, I promise. My last tip for falling in love with the unknown is to ground yourself in the present. If you ever notice yourself feeling anxious about the future or uncomfortable when you're sitting in that void, that in-between space, it's probably because you're focusing so much on what's to come instead of focusing on where you are. Another one of my favorite quotes from Eckhart Tolle says, To the ego, the present moment is, at best, only useful as a means to an end. It gets you to some future moment that is considered more important, even though the future never comes except as the present moment and is therefore never more than a thought in your head. In other words, you are never fully here because you are always trying to get elsewhere. Listen to that part again. The future never comes except as the present moment and is therefore never more than a thought in your head. That is powerful. I will probably do an entire episode about the power of the present moment, but the reason why this is so important for trusting in the unknown is that it helps you to shift your focus from the future to the here and now. Because if you trust that in the unknown is where all of the possibilities are, you're becoming comfortable with it, you're surrendering it, you're releasing your need for control, then you're ready to just exist in the here and now and in the present. You don't have to think about what the future might hold. You don't have to contemplate your choices or what those infinite possibilities might be. You can just set your intentions and enjoy your life that's right in front of you. Fear of the unknown is really somewhat a fear of the future, but when you realize that the future is just a thought in your head, you realize that you're just scared of your own thoughts. The more that you can ground yourself in the present, the more you can remind yourself that your only job is to surrender and trust. The more that you can flow into the unknown without even realizing that that's what you're doing. Because we know better than to believe what we think, right? So if you notice yourself spiraling or thinking about these worst case scenarios instead of being excited about the opportunities in the unknown, all I want you to do is bring yourself back to the present moment. All of the thoughts in your head are taking you out of the here and the now, and we're so scared of the future, but the future is only going to come if we're in the present moment. And all of this fear of the unknown and this uncomfortability that comes along with it is taking you out of where you are right now. That's why all of these tips that I'm sharing with you today really go along with each other. You're seeing that the unknown is somewhere that's exciting. You're seeing that you can let go of your need for control and surrender. And by doing all of those things, you're bringing yourself back into the present moment instead of being stuck in your head that's future projecting. I want you to remind yourself of the trust that you've built, the trust you have in yourself and the universe, and just shift your focus to what is actually right in front of you. Get back to where your feet are planted and ground yourself in the present moment instead of wanting to be somewhere else. Remind yourself of the trust you have for yourself and for the universe and shift your focus to what is actually right in front of you. Get back to where your feet are planted here in the present moment instead of ruminating about what step to take next. I promise you will figure everything out. Everything is always working out in your favor. Surrender, trust, and allow. Everything that you desire can only come to you in the present moment, so make sure that's where you are if you want to get all of these things that you want. Life was not meant to be lived in your head, waiting for the next moment to bring you what you want. Create the feelings that you desire right here and right now, and see how being more present will bring you so much more peace and comfortability with the future and the things to come. Worrying about something is like worshiping the problem, so why don't you start worshiping the present moment instead of the thoughts in your head? Take a deep breath, come back to the present, because now is the only moment that never ends. I hope you all enjoyed this episode and that these ways to get comfortable with the unknown really resonated with you. And it's amazing how when you reframe something or adopt a new perspective, how it can completely change how those things appear in your reality. I've been embracing the unknown so much lately, and I've really found a lot of peace and abundance flowing into my life. So I hope that you all get to see those changes for yourself too if you adopt some of these tips and perspectives. If you want to hear more about how I've done this in my own life with more personal examples, make sure to check out the side notes episode that is to come that will be talking about the same topic but more of my personal experience with it. And if you want more advice in shorter form, make sure to follow Rise with Anna Rose on TikTok and Instagram for more of me and my advice and my tips in your day-to-day. So as always, thank you so much for listening. I'm truly grateful for each and every one of you, and I am sending you so much love and light.